Welcome to a brand new episode of Anime Podcaster. I am your host, Mr. RG, and I am with Hotshot. Hotshot, how are you doing in this beautiful night?
I'm doing just fine. It is just night here now. It's been night for 15 minutes where I am. I was going to say it was still afternoon, but no, not quite.
A small time difference between us, but that's okay. We are still on and ready to go. So today, we wanted to talk about one of our favorite anime, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. If you don't know about it, go watch it. It is splendid. Naturally, a spoiler alert. We're gonna talk about pretty much where the story is right now, which is pretty far, and a little subject here and there. How about that, Hotshot?
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, the story right now, though, unfortunately, is finished. So we're talking about it as a whole.
Yeah, I meant the story's finished. So if you haven't watched it, spoiler. So
yeah, if you haven't watched it, spoiler, and go watch it. Seriously, I'd rather you guys go watch Love is War and then this one rather than us spoil anything for you.
Yeah, it's all right.
Because it is no joke, a really good show.
Yeah, but put us on pause. We'll wait. We're not going anywhere. So, Hotshot, why is it in your top 10? Why is it so good?
And if you guys are missing it, I mentioned that Love is War is top 10 in our emotional damage episode, which should have come out before this one.
Yeah.
It's one of my top 10 because I find at least it's hilarious. All the characters are memorable except their names. I'm sorry, I'm horrible on Japanese names. It's really kind of not in your face, but kind of meta. Like it breaks the fourth wall a lot, especially the narrator. Like I said, I fall in love with the characters super easily, and that's what makes or break a show for me. As long as I love the characters, I can get through just about anything. But the antics these guys get into is so entertaining on its own that I just love it as a whole. Like, I love Hayasaka, I love Kaguya, I love Chika, I love Shirogane. Unfortunately, those are all the names I remember, but I do love the other characters.
Yeah, I think all the character have a special place. Like, there's no character that you just gonna forget. They all have their unique and special quirk. Personally, since you asked, thank you very much about what
no, of course.
I'm just joking. What is really great about this anime? It's the character is great. Don't get me wrong, but I really love all the small details. Have you put in your Spotify playlist some of the song of Love is War? Because you should.
Especially the first intro. The first intro is amazing.
Yeah. I would love to sing it, but demonetization, so we cannot. But I really like...
Yeah, but take our word for it.
Yeah, take our word for it. I really like the Japanese singer that they took for this, and after each season, they keep taking the same singer for the intro, which is consistent and it's really good. The narrator, it's the details that I really like about the anime. He's really bringing a new perspective about the story. He's keeping track of what win and loss, and it's also kind of funny too what he says. What do you think?
Since the narrator is more or less like reading the manga to us and reacting like as things are happening, basically he's watching the show with us, but explaining what's going to happen. But he is falling apart at the seams at every scene. Like the narrator has enough personality in this show to be classified as his own character, I feel.
Yeah.
And he is one of the best characters in the show.
Yeah, he has his own personality. How crazy is that?
Well, that's the thing. With narrator, you typically think of like, this was a story long ago, and like that's about it. But no, he interacts with he doesn't interact with the crew, but he responds to the story like a viewer would.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He actually has a personality to latch onto.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character?
I do, actually, yeah.
Which one?
And funny enough, at first, my favorite character was Chika.
Yeah.
But the more I watched the show, it started turning into Kaguya. And until I finished the show, it was Kaguya.
And why is that? Go ahead.
I just love the rivalry between her and Shirogane. I love how cold and calculating she can be, but she can also be kind of ditzy and airheaded, especially when she's really sleepy or sick. Like, there was one episode I remember super well that Kaguya is super sick, so she asks Chika to come by and bring her some soup or something.
Yeah.
But since Chika can't make it, Shirogane, the president, goes instead. And in her delirious, loopy function, she grabs President and pulls him down into bed and just cuddles up against him.
Oh my God.
Like just to snuggle, just to like stay warm and just to sleep. But when she wakes up feeling totally better and sees Shirogane in her bed, she absolutely gets flustered and freaks out and kicks him the hell out of the bed.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
like
something.
just that, she actually does have a range of emotion, but tries to keep it under lock and key under this cold, icy exterior. But you see how much emotion she actually has, and she warmed her way into my heart, especially because I don't know if you guys have picked up on this yet or not. I know you haven't, RG, since we haven't actually spoke much. I have a thing for tsundere characters, and I really think Kaguya is a tsundere character.
Oh, but she definitely is, like, but like I like her kind of tsundere because like she's not beating the hell out of you.
No, and she is showing emotion. She's just trying not to.
Yeah,
And it's not working at all.
it's not working out. But it's fun that we can see her emotion in her head and what she thinks, and then she tries to keep a cold face all the time. And I love that in the anime they show her at first when she started school how really she was cold inside and in the outside before meeting the president, Miyuki Shirogane.
Speaking of favorite characters, do you have one?
It's so hard to choose. At first, I wanted to choose Ishigami, which is the nerd that likes to play video games and that everybody bullies. Because right now I don't, but I used to be a little bit like that. But the more the anime went on, I really like the assistant of Kaguya. I think her name is Hayasaka. You know, the little blonde?
Oh, Hayasuka. Yeah, the maid.
I really like how she's like she's really good about lying, and she knows like everything that needs to be done. She's just like, all right, we'll do it your way. This anime could finish in like 2 episodes if it were me, but like, all right, we'll do it your way, slowly.
I really love Hayasuka so much because when she's with Kaguya, you think she's like just as ice cold as Kaguya, but she's like a super maid. She's basically a super spy. She knows how to manipulate people. She's insanely acrobatic. She knows how to play cards and play them well and pit people against each other and tip wages into her favor. Like, there's 2 episodes even where she is trying to hit on Shirogane.
Yeah.
And one of them, she gets flat out rejected because Shirogane already has feelings for Kaguya. And it actually destroys her. Like, she actually does have a crush on Shirogane, but here she is being forced to help Kaguya accept her crush on Shirogane before she can get to him herself. And that fucking destroys me.
It's so sad. But I think her whole character is to really put a cold face and to take all of her emotion, her needs and everything and just push it down. Never reveal what she actually wants. And I think that I kind of find it a little bit attractive in a way because I know that's the kind of person that if you would take the time to know her and to know how she really is, you would know that it's an adorable, intelligent, athletic, and everything girl. You catch my drift now?
Yeah. Like,
why did I say that?
Especially towards... You're good. Especially towards the end, because she just outright admits that she has a crush on the president and that she wants what Kaguya is going for. She wants a boyfriend. She wants a lifestyle different path. And at the end, even Kaguya says, besides, you and I are more or less sisters at this point too. Like, she actually does appreciate and love Hayasuka despite all of the sacrifices she gives. But there's a lot of time where Kaguya can act like a spoiled brat to her.
Oh, she's such a spoiled brat. And it's kind of weird to say like, oh, you're my sister, by the way, I'm going to steal your first crush.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, she had a crush on Shirogane long before Hayasuka did.
True. She
But
called shotgun.
it's still kind of fucked. It's still kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's still kind of messed up. But yeah, so how does this happen? How does you, Mr. Hotshot, a grown-ass man, love to watch so much high school love stories?
Yeah, no, when you say it like that, it's not good. It's not good at all.
But that's curious because
I will happily watch. I will happily watch Love Is War a million times more before I even touch High School Musical. Like that's just not happening.
I watched High School Musical, but like it was against my will. It was like, oh, you wanna date me? We're gonna watch this show. I was like, hey, gotta do what you gotta do. But like, yeah,
and meanwhile, me, no way in hell.
Yeah, you're a true Chad. I was a simp. I said yes. You would have walked up and you'd be like, good night, ma'am. But yeah, it's crazy to when you think logically that we love and we kind of relate in my side, and I think yours too. High school love story. Have you wished that maybe you could have lived one of the adventure or situation of one of those characters?
More often than not, yes. If I'm being totally honest, like I feel like it's characters that you can relate to, but they're just so over exaggerated. Like when something even a little bit hinting that Kaguya or Shirogane has a crush on each other, basically the entire school explodes. So obviously this is very well played up and very much like, oh dear God, if this happened in real life, this is not good.
I want to make a jokes about school in America.
That's why, because of like how simple the concept is of just telling someone I like you, but playing it to the point of the extreme of, no, if you accept love or if you accept that you have love, you have lost the war or you have lost the game. It is a battle to make someone admit that they love you first, because whoever says they love you first loses. And that's the whole concept of the show.
Yeah.
And that's what grabbed me, because they actually do treat it like it's a war.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I have to convince him. I have to break him before he breaks me, kind of thing. And that's what sold me on it, because they treat it like it's a massive war game.
Exactly, it's a massive war and mind games, and it's funny that you say that the characters are kind of over the top, because they have some quirk that I can relate and I can appreciate, but I cannot relate to any of the character. They're so special and unique. Like, do you ever relate to one of the character?
I can kind of relate to Chica, if anyone, if I'm being totally honest.
So you do the Chica dance?
Because Chica, if I could dance, I would. But Chica's like that kind of airheaded character where like she's kind of oblivious to all the major things going on, like President and Shirogane having a crush on each other, for instance. But she's also always there to help, like in their own personal struggles to their friends. But she's basically there to make sure everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
Like the viewer and the student council alike. And that's kind of the embodiment of a character that I want to be. But she also has her moments of, I'm going to put you through a wall if you don't stop this. Or like just sheer disgust. Like one thing she does is she helps Shirogane with singing and rapping.
Yeah.
And when he sings in front of her for the first time, I have never seen a bigger face of dread and horror in an anime character's face than Chica hearing Shirogane sing for the first time. It is not good.
Yeah, those moments are precious. I remember when Chica's little sister, when she tells us she has a crush on Shirogane, the president. And she's like, oh, yeah. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask him to do tricks and special talents. Shirogane will fail like always. And basically he nails everything. And she's like, even more. And her little sister's even more in love. And she's like, why are you good right now? Why are you good? Yeah.
the one time I want you to fail, you don't. You can't even fail correctly. Shirogene's just confused.
Yeah.
Or when when Chika's sister shares her crush with Kaguya. And Kaguya looks like she's going to body this child. I'm just like, oh, this is a romantic rival. No, she is 3 years younger than you. You are totally fine. But what ends up being like what seemingly was going to turn into like just a shared rivalry of Kaguya doing a full yandere turns into them fanboying about Shirogane.
And I kind of love it. But in a certain way, when you love somebody so much and so deeply, any girls or boys or non-gender like would make you like jealous and would make you crazy, even if it's the person is not a real threat to you, to your crush or your relationship. So I guess it's kind of relatable.
Yes, if I like a person so much and a mascot of a football team looks at them the wrong way, you know, a head they can't control, I will pounce on this mascot for even looking in the general direction of my one and only.
Somebody was fall the stairs.
That is the logic.
I don't know.
That is the logic that they follow here.
Yeah, and what?
It's like, but I can't look at him, liar.
I trust you. I don't just trust anyone else. Would be a really special boyfriend or for your partner.
Oh boy.
Going on that, you said the anime was pretty funny. I laughed. I laughed. Oh my god, I don't know how to say the word. I had a good time, but what moment really made you laugh more than any other kind of anime? Like,
God, that one's gonna be a minute.
Do you have a moment in your head that makes you laugh?
I do have one, but it's really more of like a shock moment than anything. So it was in a verb expectations moment to where Hayasuka got Shirogane alone in a karaoke room and blocked the window with her jacket. And she was making all these kind of innuendos on the other side of the door. Like it's so big, or I can't take anymore.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's too much, you need to stop. Like just stuff like that. But by the time Shirogane left and he looked satisfied with himself, Kaguya burst into the karaoke door to see an almost passed out Hayasuka on the bench, only for Hayasuka to reveal that she was talking about his voice and his singing and rapping voice, that it almost killed her.
Yeah, it was kind of like, funny. I loved it.
Like as it was happening, I'm like, oh no. Like I had to pause a few times because clearly it wasn't going to go the direction my head was going. But the fact that I was thinking about that before having to continue, and just the sheer like, nope, that's not what it was, just made me lose it.
Those are the kind of moment in anime that you're like, you need to not have anyone in the house, because if they hear that, you're gonna have questions.
Yeah, it gets worse. Like, okay, so I watch my anime in English dub. I will fully admit this.
Oh no!
But if you were watching subbed, so if you were watching in the true Japanese dub, it sounds even worse because it's all these high-pitched screams in like rapid succession that no one knows what they're saying around you. But that means that they're constantly thinking that it's something bad.
Oh my god.
What do you think of Shirogane just as a character in general? Like he's the one that Kaguya is going after, the one that she's fallen for. He's more or less the secondary main character behind her because her name is actually in the title. I
mean, he's fine. Like he has his quirks, but I don't find him that special. He's just a guy who's smart. Sometimes he has funny reaction, and when he does something, he gives his 100%, which is admirable. And she can fall in love for him for that, but he doesn't seem that attractive for me.
Honestly, that's kind of how I feel too. like his backstory and everything, like he worked from the slums and his family is still poor. So everything he's worked hard and clawed his way to the top. So like he works a job on top of going to this pretentious school, being the top of his class and being president of student council. So that's what gives him the trademark eyes, like tired looking eyes. And why Kaguya loves him so much is because, yeah, he gives 110% in whatever he does. And she loves that drive in him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not like as... He has his moments, don't get me wrong. But he's not as quirky as the rest of the student council.
Yeah, he's more stable.
I feel like he's the one that stands out the least. I still love him as a character, and I feel like he's a great match, and it makes sense that Kaguya would love him. But comparatively, he's probably my least favorite out of the main cast.
Exactly. You know who makes me laugh all the time during his anime? Ishigami. Ishigami, when he's speaking about like when he's getting like roast every single day, he's the comedy of the show. I'm sorry, like it's not like it's a little bit Chika, it's a little bit Kaguya, but it's mostly Ishigami who makes all the jokes in the anime.
I really get most of my jokes, I'll be honest, from Kaguya and her reactions, like just how she takes things. But I see the point. I see the point you are when you're doing I can't remember his name. Sorry,
Ishigami. Then
you just said it.
Yeah,
Ishigami,
the gamer.
But there are two moments with the Ishigami that sings in my head. One of them is when he actually does want to give his all and study, and he is being almost tortured by Kaguya and just her methods of tutoring him, but it actually is helping.
Yeah,
but just the pain and suffering he's going through for it. And the other time is when he is confessing his love to a crush towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
And he's planning to do it in a haunted house, in a co-ed haunted house. But because of a running joke couple just doing insane PDA, and once they get caught in the haunted house, boys have to go one way and girls have to go another. And he is completely heartbroken about it. One part of the haunted house is that you're enclosed in a locker together or a closet in an enclosed space in like a VR kind of experience. So he would have just been close quarters with her for like basically playing a game of 7 Minutes in Heaven. And it was just taken from him.
Yeah. But I feel like, it is about love. Love is war. And, we know that Kaguya and the president end up together. But like I really felt like almost as strongly, but not sadness for Ishigami when he got rejected, because like he never puts the effort because he know he's gonna fail and he thinks he's not good enough. And when he puts the effort to impress his crush, at the end he fails. So it's just to reinforce. It just reinforced the bad ideas I had in his head, and I'm so sad for him.
Well, I mean, at least at the end, he wasn't outright rejected, because once they talked it over, he was giving her time to think about it. But when he was doing all that, he wasn't aware that he was confessing. So he did it at the Hearts Festival, and there's a rumor that if you give a heart to someone at the Hearts Festival, you're more or less confessing your love, or it's a sign of everlasting love. And all he did was win a giant heart chocolate prize for the girl that he had a crush on, or a giant cookie. And when he gave it to her, she and everyone else in the classroom thought it was just a flat out confession, just right then and there in the middle of the classroom. But all he was thinking was, she was really eyeing this, so she must have really wanted it.
Chocolate.
He didn't realize he was making a full-on confession until he had the serious talk with her and saw her in the play and heard the legend. And he's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, I remember that. But I think I have seen a scene when he's like crying because he was rejected. Did I imagine that?
No, because well, maybe not because he was rejected, But he was crying because even after all the tutoring that Kaguya gave him, he still came in low in the test results. And he was just infuriated and frustrated with himself. So Kaguya followed him into the bathroom, and he was crying to himself.
Maybe I'm maybe
That might
confusing.
be the scene you're thinking about.
It's alright. Maybe I'll verify later. Oh, and by the way, I think like one thing that we, as people of America, we didn't catch is the. Have you ever seen the system of chocolate in Japan? How it works?
I have, but I'm kind of spacey on it. I know that that on Valentine's Day, girls give guys chocolate, or girls give whoever they like chocolate, and whether or not it's specifically friend chocolate. But if they give you chocolate, it's essentially a confession, right?
Yeah,
Unless
not
they say
necessarily.
it outright, it's friendship chocolates.
Actually, there's like different type of chocolate. So there's say like the cheap one. There's a certain shape and everything. So the smaller and the more casual it is, the more friendly it is, and the more big, high quality and certain shape. I don't know the details, but I know it works like that. So in my head, I'm like, if you did that in Japan and at the Valentine's Day, no way that you could give that to someone in Japan and be like, oh yeah, this is like the biggest friendship chocolate you could ever give to someone. It doesn't mean anything. So in my head, I was like, you knew what you're doing. You knew.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Because this has nothing to do with Love is War. But in Comey Can't Communicate, the main character gives Comey a piece of chocolate. And she blushes massively when she gets it. And when I ask Kyo, he's like, yeah, that's more or less a confession chocolate. Like what that one symbolizes specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have been told and I have been explained the chocolate system in Japan, but with me and my fat America brain, I'm just chocolate is good. And that's about it. As far as Love is War goes, it is one of my favorite top 10 animes. It is my favorite romance anime. And I love how quirky the characters are, especially like how insane Kaguya can get. Chika can get pretty nuts. Hayasuka is just cool, calm, and collected, and really generally just being a badass is kind of a save.
Yeah.
And I love the 3-season adventure that we got with these characters. I felt like nothing was rushed. I felt like there was just enough comedy, but enough tension too, to where you actually felt what these characters were feeling. And I would watch this series 100 times more. I really do like it that much. Even if I can't really put it into words that well, I just love it. And it's a really good series.
Nice. And before we start wrapping things up, do you have for our audience, you that which have a beautiful and amazing taste in anime, and you are not a big fan of romance anime, if I'm correct, do you have another romance show to recommend our audience?
I do, actually, yes.
Which
this one's technically a romance, but it's played off as more as friendship. Comey Can't Communicate.
Oh, excellent choice.
It is low key romance, but it is still technically a romance anime.
I see. I think it's a really good choice. I didn't look at the anime right now, but I heard a lot of good things about it.
It's amazing. It's really cute. It's really sweet. Comey as a character I love. There's a lot of eccentric characters that are kind of hard to forget. And like the drawing point of our main character who's helping Comey is he is the most mundane character to exist. That is literally his quirk. He is the most normal character.
You're totally around that. I think for me, the show that I would recommend definitely is called in English, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched it to its completion, but I do know her and I have seen clips.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is it has a little bit of supernatural, so be ready for that. But you are not ready for the story and in the plots. I cried and you're probably gonna are too. So watch it; it's gonna be fun.
The plot thickens so much.
It's like, yeah, for me, crying is a good time now. You join me. We can all cry together.
Yeah, me, meanwhile, I can't cry. And I discussed this in our previous episode.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll find a good anime for you to cry. And then you'll join us. Join the cry gang.
All right. As long as I get a t-shirt, that's what matters.
You're like, maybe you'll get chocolate if you give me your address.
We'll talk.
We'll talk, yeah.
All right, guys. And I think that should just about do it here. So with that, this has been another episode of
Anime Podcaster. See you guys.
Hi, guys. Hey, guys. Hotshot here. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Anime Podcasters. We have over 100 other episodes for your entertainment found wherever podcasts are available, such as Spotify. We also release new episodes twice a month, so keep an ear out for us. You can follow the podcast at Anime Podcasters on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Giant Music's YouTube channel. Giant himself can be found on social media at Giant Music, as well as his own website, giantmusic.com. Kyo, our artist for the podcast, can be found on Twitter and YouTube at GoProKyo, as well as his website, ccartgalleryportfolio.com. As for me, Hotshot, you can find me on YouTube and Twitter at HotshotGinger. As always, guys, thanks for listening to us. Hope to talk to you soon. Take care.